Hi, I'm Dan Costa, Chief Content Officer at Worth Media Group, and I'm here at the Milken Global Conference. I'm joined by Cheryl Evans. She's the Director of Lifetime Financial Security. Cheryl, thanks so much for coming here and talking to me.
Thank you so much, and I'm really pleased to be here, and I always love joining Worth Media. We do a lot of great things.
So, Lifetime Financial Security, I think we all sort of understand what that means, but what does your day look like here at Milken, and what types of issues are you exploring?
We started the program focused solely on retirement. We broadened it out to people being financially secure throughout their lives and into retirement. So the issues that we focus on are early wealth building. We have a session on tomorrow morning on that, focusing on ensuring that people begin saving young, and actually things like bonds at birth, financial education. Our work also encompasses disparities in savings, differences between men and women in saving, differences by race and inclusion. We also focus on, we have a women's initiative. We're focused on guaranteed income products, so we're focused on access to retirement vehicles, and we're focused on fintech and innovative solutions that get people to engage with finance who may not otherwise be engaged. So it's a panoply of things. As to what we do in our work, it's everything from convenings to writing. We wrote a report that was the longest report they'd ever written, which was not my intention. I am a lawyer,
but we're a lot to say.
We're headed by Mike Pilbar, who's a PhD economist. So he liked it. We had 220 footnotes, but it's called Shifting the Retirement Paradigm, Moving Towards Lifetime Financial Security. That covered sort of the landscape, even things like behavioral finance, things that Daniel Kahneman and Richard Thaler have talked about that impede people's ability to save, just behavioral principles. People sometimes are not able to envision their future self. It's too far away when you're younger. As I said last year, I think I didn't save enough. That's like the older version of you. Yep. So we focused on those kind of things. There's state plans that are kicking in. And the other things we do, we convene people, we bring them together. We did that in the lifetime income space with retirement leaders and thinking about these new products that are essentially an annuity embedded in a plan. We also write research, we comment on legislation. So we do all the kind of think tank things that you would think that we do. And then we also do media interviews and try to raise awareness of issues and encourage people to engage with finance. One thing I often say is, particularly if you're at the lower end of the income spectrum and you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's really hard to think about saving for the long, like you're just trying to get by. We refer to it as turning towards finance, not away, like look at it and just save a small amount. So those are some of the things we think about.
One of the things we were talking about earlier is this concept of baby bonds. Yes. When a baby's born, there's all this goodwill, everyone sends flowers, they buy all these products and stuff. Right. But this idea that why don't you put aside some money for that child for when they're older, either in a bond, this always seemed like such a great idea to me. It's not a new idea. No. Why does this not happen every time a child is born in this country?
Well, the why is a harder question to answer. I think we need to appropriate the money. We need to get Republicans and Democrats to agree. I think there is interest at this time. And when we say we, it's really, the notion has been the government putting money aside, investing it. We are seeing more of those state plans. In fact, we have a session on early wealth building tomorrow at 8:30 a.m., so you can watch it live. A little plug for that. But we have the treasurer of Connecticut, who's got a program that they are tying that more to those on Medicaid. But there are ancillary effects that you see. People are more engaged with finance. They save more over their lifetime. So those kinds of social impacts are there. So I think it's a wonderful idea, and we're hearing that there's more interest even at the federal level. We've issued a piece related to Invest America, which is really just putting the money into the markets. And we did it, not me personally, but Mike Pilbar, who I work with, and Rob Shapiro wrote a piece which is analyzing doing a Monte Carlo simulation. If you had $1,000 at birth, what would it get you in 40 years? And then what can you use that for? Normally those programs allow you to use it to buy a home, for education, and sometimes there's one or two other things. To start a business is one of those. So we're a proponent of that. And then our session on early wealth building, we broadened that out, as I just touched upon, to include ensuring that that young people and families understand finance, and then educate children on finance, and then help those who don't go to college. The costs are astronomical, as we cited in our paper, Shifting the Retirement Paradigm. And so some of those people who aren't going to college, which is a higher and higher percentage, are going to make less over the course of their lifetime. So we have someone from Google. They do a lot of free training and certificates and education. And so we're thinking in those terms, and we have the head of SIFMA's Education Foundation, so we're thinking of early wealth building from birth to your early 20s, getting people to start saving in a variety of ways.
I mean, most people think about retirement as something that they'll be on Social Security when they get there, and that may be their only income stream. And the way people are living today, the way people are living longer, it's just unlikely that's going to be enough for most people.
No, we wrote about that in our paper. The longer, it's a slightly longer name, but you can find it online. And one of our big takeaways is we don't want people living on Social Security, because most people, it's going to put them at or a little above the poverty level. It's based on your income over 35 years. It's a guaranteed stream of income, and it's inflation protected. But we talk about this in a session that we have tomorrow on retirement lessons. Peyton Manning's going to kick us off, and it's
he's going to kick you out. He's a pastor.
I know, but he's going to kick. He's going to do a chat and talk about his second half, which he's been very successful, but his life is not the average life. But he's learned a number of things from working with Nationwide Financial, and so in that sense, people really need to sort of think about that and what we're going to talk about in the retirement lessons, the second portion, which is really the fact that people used to have a three-legged stool, the retirement experts call it, which was your Social Security, a pension, and the money you save, like your pot of money or 401k, but now it's left to the individual saver, and a lot of people don't know how to manage that. There's the spend down portion, but certainly we don't want people living on Social Security, and that's a big concern. So there are a lot of these products that we really highlight, which are lifetime income products embedded in a 401k, so you get that lifetime income in addition to your lifetime income from Social Security, which we hope will remain in place, Social Security.
We certainly hope.
Yeah, I'm crossing my fingers.
We also talked a little bit about how lifetime financial security plays out very differently for men and women over the course of their lives. Can you just talk a little bit about that? We're just beginning a women's financial security initiative within the program. And so we're going to be gathering leaders who do research from nonprofits, experts, as well as financial leaders. And our research bore that out. And a lot of that's from financial firms. A few stats: women between 23 and 65 earn about $470,000 less over the course of their lives than men on average. Women of color earn much less. There's a number of reasons for that. Women come out of the workforce for caregiving. Sometimes that decreases their costs. There's still a pay inequity. There are other issues where women don't talk about money. They may not be as engaged. They withdraw money. And we had that wonderful opportunity that I mentioned. We invited Gloria Steinem to participate. She just turned 91. If she's watching, hi Gloria, we're excited to continue to work with her. And so we had a talking circle with Gloria Steinem, who's been fighting for women's pay for 60 years at her home with leaders in finance. I'm so excited about it. I started to cry when I introduced her, because I ended with the women in the room and the women at the Milken Institute stand on Gloria's shoulders, and I feel that we really do. The things she's done are amazing. I can list them ad nauseum, but so that was an amazing fact. But one of her pieces of advice was develop your confidence, and it's your job to sort of take care of your own future and fight for your own future and fight for your retirement. In a way, we talked about getting women engaged. She felt like storytelling is very powerful. And that's kind of what the talking circle is in a way. It's sitting face to face. So she thought we should share stories, which could be interesting. I think there's a lot to unpack there, because I think that you said earlier that people when they're younger have trouble imagining their older selves. Even at our age, it's hard for them to imagine my older self. But you want to take care of that older self, and you have the earlier you start, the better off you will be down the line.
Well, and that's how we ended our larger report. We ended it literally with the line saying, "You'll never regret saving for the future, and take care of your future self." And we work with Hal Hirschfeld here at UCLA. We've quoted him in the report and others. He's got a book out called Your Future Self on the New York Times bestseller list. But that notion of being unable to connect with that, sometimes I will say, think of yourself as two people. There's the young you and there's the old you. And you're going to take care of that other person if you can't really connect. Hal does things like aging young people's photos in college to get them to say, like, that's you, that person is you. So I think that's a key component as well. And then the big takeaway from our report, the thing that got the most media attention, was the notion of just the power of compounding. You put $400 a month, which not everyone can do, but into the markets for 40 years, you're going to have $1.1 million. And you wait 10 years and you only have $335,000 about. So those stats are important. But for those who can't save a lot, we just say even if you put $50 a month in the market for 40 years, you're going to have hundreds of thousands of dollars. We want people to think that way about taking care of themselves and taking care of their own futures.
So we're just getting started with the conference. There's a lot of panels, a lot of interesting people that are going to be here. Who are you looking forward to seeing?
We are excited to meet Peyton Manning just because of who he is, and we're doing a private meet and greet with him, some of us. So we're going to get some autographed footballs, and Peyton's developed quite a bit of knowledge on finance over having been the spokesperson for Nationwide. And I also grew up in Pittsburgh, which is a big football town.
Yeah.
And when Peyton retired, I was looking at in preparation his talk. He highlighted getting to play against his idol, Dan Marino, who is a family friend of ours. Mm-hmm. So that's super cool. But there's always so many interesting people that we meet on the finance level. One thing our CEO has us do is come back with a story of someone we met that we wouldn't have otherwise met. So sometimes it's, I met an interesting person in the Uber driver, like to talk about finance, right? So there's a lot of really interesting people that we get to meet here, and it's very exciting, and the topics are quite broad. So, yeah.
Cheryl, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you.
I'm Dan Costa, Worth Media. If you want to see more videos like this, check out our YouTube channel. I'll see you there.